A nice start, yet again the split start here with the bigger fields. 22 starters, and they are from Frankston Athletic Club, Sean Whipp. From Box Hill, Clary McIntyre. From Deakin, Peter Carr. From St Kevin's, Jack Holden. From Mentone, Dion Finocchiario. From Ballarat Harriers, Julian Spence. Representing Athletics Essendon, Toby O'Brien. From Athletics Nunawading, Adrian McLean. Representing Mentone, Matthew Crowley. From Glen Huntly, Samuel Toll. From the United Kingdom, we welcome Tom Crouch. From Glen Huntly, Edward Marks. From Doncaster, John Portwood. Representing Diamond Valley, Tim Logan. From Bendigo Harriers, Brady Threlfall. All the way from Queensland, Ben McCronin. From Melbourne University, Peter Hodgkinson. Also from Melbourne Uni, William Gardner. From Collingwood, Harriers, Dale Carroll. From South Australia, we welcome Daniel Canella. From St Stephen's Harriers, Samuel Quirk. And from Knox, David Friend. So 22 starters in the men's B 5,000 metres.
So Sean Whipp out in front. Edward Marks currently in second. Dale Carroll from Collingwood up in that lead bunch, Tim, and also Tim Logan.
So obviously someone slipped Whippy a few dollars to lead this race, I'd say, Glenn. Otherwise he'd be stuck somewhere mid-pack. 14.45 the winning time last year. Julian Owie from the Deakin Club. So 14.45, so that's a touch under 3-minute K pace. Around the 71-minute laps. And I love it looking at down the field, and you see Adrian McLean in the green uniform from Nunawading. This guy loves to lead, so I wouldn't be surprised if he keeps slipping past and takes the lead. He's scratching his head, what do I do? The announcer's got me, and he does that, just that. He takes the lead from Whipp. Quirk in third, Carroll's up there also. Then Portwood. That could be Toll sitting in there, the smaller figure from Glen Huntly. And we will get a fix fairly soon as they go through the 800 and then the 1,000 metre mark. So we'd want these guys on about 70 or 71 second laps as they're going through. 72 seconds equates to a 3-minute kilometre or 15-minute pace.
Yeah, nice controlled race so far. Interesting that half the field are in lane 2 running that extra distance at this stage. No one really wants to lose any position, Tim. So pace reasonable in the first stages of this race.
So they're just going through now. 3:38 there at the 1200. Spence leading Threlfall. Trying to pick up the third place runner there. That could be O'Brien from Essendon perhaps, the larger figure. So as we're saying, the two oldest guys, one is the very front, and that's Spence, and Crouch at the very back. So experience shows. So O'Brien's now slipped into third. Carroll's starting to make a move. We've also got McCronin there in the maroon colours. A little bit of pushing and shoving as they're going through there. So Spencer's got a pretty good pace going there at the moment, Glenn.
Sorry, Tim, I was just checking some feedback. We have been asked who's our favourite, who are we going to put the kibosh on, or who are we going to bring home in this race? There's certainly
a favourite, as in what favourite? You know, some of my favourite runners are out there, as in, you know, Threlfall and Spence, two icons of Victorian athletics. But I always love calling any race that's got that man from Nunawading, McLean. He's just an exciting runner to watch.
Another example of sitting on the fence, Tim. But let's get back to the action now. They're spread across about 55 metres at this stage, so they're sorting out the wheat from the chaff. I'm going to put probably my money at this stage. Well, it's a tough one, really, this race. It is actually...
It is a tough one. Ones to watch here, I think Crowley's certainly in the Mentone colours. He's sitting nicely. He's got a good bloodline. Got a little bit of Olympic blood going through those veins. So Crowley's one to watch. Portwood's coming to the outside. The Melbourne Uni runner there. He's moving very nicely. I think that might be Hodkinson. Threlfall now takes the lead as we're coming down to get the 2 kilometre mark. So the top of the straight, our trusty team in photo finish will stop that clock and we'll have a look at that time and do some assessment. We'd be hoping to see something around the 6-minute mark, which is bang on 15-minute pace. So they hit it now and it's 5:59. Brady Threlfall, beautiful pacing there. So I think we're going to see a sub-15 finish here, Glenn, because I believe there will be a kick down. They're cruising through 2K nicely. Threlfall's now setting the pace. His good mate Spence, sparring partner on their podcast, is sitting just behind him. Carroll we saw run a beautiful race versus Frinsos at the All Schools only a few weeks ago. McCronen's come down and he wouldn't come down from Queensland if he wasn't in form. So McCronen also likely to give them a challenge. And I do like what I see with Toby O'Brien. He's a big, strong, bullocking lad, this one, and he loves a good fast race. So it's starting to stretch a little bit here, and the leaders are Threlfall, Spence, McCronen, O'Brien, and then we've got Carroll to the inside. We're just trying to determine, I think it might be Marks, the Glen Huntley runner. Also Crowley is up there. They're well strung out now, so the pace is certainly going nicely, and they're going to come through to get 6 laps to go. So about the halfway mark, they're through halfway. Tom Crouch starting to make a move down the outside. So it's Threlfall, Spence, O'Brien, McCronen, Carroll, Hodgkinson. And then it's Marks, the younger runner there from Glen Huntley. He's a 16-year-old, so doing well in this company. Crowley's also up there, and Crouch, the experienced runner from the UK with the St Albans colours on, he's making a few moves. We saw Crouch positioned beautifully at the back of the field as they settled, but you can see the experience of Crouch now coming through. So they're still right on that 15-minute mark. I think just a shade on it. Threlfall quite comfortable running those 3-minute Ks at the moment. As we said, had a big campaign for Berlin. So did Spence. Coming through now to get the 3K mark. And I reckon there might be some fireworks over the next few laps as we see a few of them start to make their moves. No, about 7. So 9:02, a little bit off the 15-minute mark, but I'm still predicting we're going to have a sub-15-minute finish here because it is going to kick down. That bunch is so big, we're going to see a few of these boys start launching out, getting under the 70-second laps, and that will definitely happen with this crowd. So we've seen Canella from South Australia make a bit of a move. Crouch, as we said, he's made his moves. McLean's still sitting there. He's a 1500 specialist, so you don't want to be near Adrian McLean in the latter stages of a race like this. Another interesting one in the lead pack, Dion Finocchiario. This time last year, he was running 100 kilometres at the World Champs in Spain, representing Australia. So Dion, you got 95k to go at the end of this one.
Yeah, this is what I love to see. The lead pack, about 12 runners all starting to bunch up. They were sitting back, waiting of course, tactically, and now it's anyone's race. I know it's an obvious thing to say, but you've got them 3 abreast coming down to get 4 laps to go.
I'd really like someone like O'Brien to just shake this one up, and I know he can do it. So Toby O'Brien has taken the lead here. He's the one we want to put a big surge. We want to get as many of these guys under 15 as we possibly can. 4 laps to go. So O'Brien leads from Frelful. McCronin's still up there. I think that's the big figure of Tom Crouch to the outside. To the inside is Spence. So they'll be coming down now to get 3 to go, and I think it's going to start to really heat up. And look, McLean coming down the outside, the rangy figure. And also Hodgkinson, he looks good, doesn't he, Glenn? Got a nice style. Crouch has now gone for the lead. Remember, he was coming stone motherless last not so long ago, and he's right up the lead now, forcing that pace with 3 to go. Yeah, so it's Hodgkinson and then Crouch.
Sorry, Tim, I was just going to say he's looking really relaxed. He certainly timed his move. 3 laps to go, and he may have caught the rest of the field napping.
I still think O'Brien's one to watch, and also McLean. Julian Spence sitting there quite nicely, though. He's did a bit of the work early, obviously in conjunction with Frelful. They thought, let's get this pace going, and they've done that beautifully. And Julian's starting to wind up a little bit more now in the Ballarat Harriers colours. You know,
Frelful's had a bit of a rest for the last 600 metres, and he's been sitting beautifully in 3rd position, perhaps saving himself for a bit of a sprint a little later on.
Well, some might say he's been having a bit of a rest since the Berlin Marathon too. So Brady's been out in a good pasture, but he's looking strong tonight. Crouch leading, looking strong. We believe St Stephen's will get their eyes on this guy, and gee, will that bolster up their Premier Division team in XCR when Tommy Crouch starts running. So Hodgkinson in the next position. Then we got Frelful. McLean's still there. We don't want to Adrian, or you don't want to be near him with 2 laps to go, and that's exactly what they've got now. So they're into the 4th kilometre. We did miss that split. I'll blame the photo finish team. But Crouch leading Hodgkinson, Frelful, McLean, Spence.
So 12:42, thanks to our media overlord Steve Marty, who's our backup photo finish operator here at Lakeside. But another move's on, Tim. Heading down the back straight.
That looks like Spence. So one of the oldest men in the field. He's going for it now, Julian Spence. So I think that the friendships, they get laid aside when you get in the last 2 laps of a race like this. They've got 500 metres to go. So Julian Spence leads it. His mate Frelful not too far behind. The 2 regional Victorian runners. Crouch from the UK. Hodgkinson, are still impressed by this guy. Some of my favourites are starting to drift back, though, as we see Finocchiario starting to come through. Canella also up there.
Yeah, Frelful, as I mentioned, Tim, he was a bit of a sleeping giant. Had a bit of a rest in the mid part of the race. He's starting, as you said, to wake up from his Berlin Marathon.
And that's probably the first time Brady's been referred to as a giant. But anyway, we go into the last 300 metres as we've got Spence, Frelful, Crouch, Hodgkinson, Finocchiaro winding up here, the 100-kilometre Australian representative. Canella with him. Kerr starting to drop back a bit. O'Brien and McLean as well. So they're gone. And the interest now is up the front. And it's your giant has really laid the path down there, Glenn.
He's turned into an 800-metre runner. He's picked up the pace. Don't know what you talked about, Tim, in the Berlin Marathon. He's going to take this out. I'm calling it 120 out. He's picked up. Look at him. Turn for home. He wants this. He's hungry. He's going to power down that home straight.
Yeah, Brady Frelful, hats off. That's a good run. Spence, and they're all coming at him. I'm impressed by Finocchiaro. We also got Canella here as well. So eyes on the clock. We get a few of these guys under 15 as predicted. So Frelful takes it. Canella will get second. Spence, Finocchiaro, Hodgkinson, Crouch will come through. right on the 15-minute mark. Then we got Kerr, McLean, Tim Logan, didn't call much of him, Toby O'Brien. Look down the track, McCronen's coming through, Carroll. Then we got Portwood and Marks. So some good running there, Glenn. Entertaining race, as we'd expect from the men's B 5,000 metres. A little bit of a battle there. McIntyre just over Whip.